This week, there was a trailer drop for a movie based on a video game. Best way to say it.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, and that being Tomb Raider, which it's already existed as a video game movie in the past two.
Yeah, it's had two of them.
And not only do I want to talk about the trailer itself, but just the idea of like, can video games be done right in a movie form? / have we already got video games that prove that? / is it impossible? Like, what are our thoughts, basically? So, initially, off the cuff, did you like the Tomb Raider trailer?
I do, but I'm very concerned that it won't be good.
I kind of agree with that, kind of, in the sense of, I think it looked fine.
Looked fine, yeah, but it's just like, you're always just worried about it being tied to a video game.
Yeah. But in my head, I think, if I took out Lara Croft, and that the fact that it was a video game, would I care at all about that trailer? And my answer probably would be no. I wouldn't care.
No, if it was just some random like adventure thing with, you'd be like, eh.
I don't think there was anything in that trailer that made me go, oh, that's a must-see movie.
That's like, a problem.
It felt like it felt like nothing particularly stand out. It's like it could come out and be a good film. I don't think it's going to be a standout film.
No,
like,
it won't.
Unless they're hiding stuff back.
It won't be a standout film. It's just that's
and the other problem,
they're not helping it.
And the other problem, like, people often say, oh, to do a video game movie right, you just have to do what the video game did. And I'm like, I don't know, because you've already done it.
Stay away from the video game. Don't go anywhere near that. That's my thinking. And from looking at this movie trailer for Tomb Raider, it looks like the Tomb Raider reboot game. It's like, exactly the same. It's like, in my opinion, you distance yourself from it and kind of make it its own thing, because the moment it's like book adaptations don't completely follow what the book does, because it might not work in the movie, but video games I want this in because it's important.
Yeah, I do think that story inherently could work as a movie because it's it's not that gamey, so it kind of works anyway. Like, I can see why they're adapting it as opposed to some of the original Tomb Raider stories, which I liked more just because they were gamey and silly. But it doesn't work as a movie. Like Lara Croft with two pistols versing a Tyrannosaurus Rex doesn't really
doesn't,
work that out.
Everyone just looks at it and goes,
yeah.
No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And I think when they did the original to Angelina Jolie, they were like that kind of campy over the top Tomb Raider, where it's just like
but
she's versing like demonic beings. She's like, I can't. The first movie she like traveled through time or something.
I have no idea anymore.
She got some crazy artifact. I remember, but I haven't seen the Majesty. But I remember they were at least very flashy because she was constantly like doing cartwheels and like flying over the place and like Matrix type stuff.
Yeah, that's like was that era. It's like backflips and Matrix stuff was all the rage.
Yeah, where this is more of seemingly a gritty, serious reboot.
Yeah, more grounded in reality. It's trying to be.
But I just don't think it's going to probably be that exciting. But regardless of our thoughts on Tomb Raider, one of them will use as a discussion point for do we think any movies that come so far in the video game sense that have actually been good? Or could be determined to be a good.
So there is one, like, I think I liked it because I'm a fan of it. So Warcraft, it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. I just like how it references, or like all the little things that you'll know if you're a fan of it, which is a big mistake that these movies do. It's like, we're going to chuck this in so they'll know this. But it's like, there are things in it that were out of whack, out of sequence. I didn't like how it ended. Just like they could have done it better, but it's just they didn't. Yeah, and the other thing about that movie, it's got a couple of things that I feel like it's the problem with like mixed CG and mixed like people. I'm almost like, well, video game movies work better if they're just a CG movie. Like maybe like that's my thought process because the ones I like the most are the ones that are just like CG movies. But they're admittedly Final Fantasy. You know, I'm like you with Warcraft. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, so like I inherently like them, even though they're very nonsensical. But so are the plots of Final Fantasy. Like Adventure 100, if you hadn't played 7, then you watch that movie, you're like, what? Yeah, and even Kingsglaive, like that movie that barely makes sense in itself. I mean, it kind of does, but I liked it on its own. But yeah. It's still very much a overly complex plot for something that's like could be explained a bit long. Simpler. Yeah, it's just like, this is all happening. This can all happen. This is. But it makes an excuse for just like over the top flashy CGI cutscenes, which is like what I like anyway. Yeah, which is what you wanted that movie for, which is what it provided. And Warcraft went for the kind of look. I mean, like Blizzard were involved in this one as well, but it's still. And the other problem is
assumed there'd be a sequel. Like, I don't think it's impossible it will get a sequel, just because I believe China made it, like, all its money back.
Yeah, it's like... But that scares me, because out of all the stories in Warcraft, one is the weakest. Like, the strongest is probably either Warcraft 3 with the Arthur storyline, or Warcraft 2 where it gets really more interesting and it's like a step up of 1 where you add in Lordaeron and stuff.
But it is interesting though, because Warcraft 1 was the least well known for me. So seeing I'm like, I don't even remember most of these characters, like reference characters.
Yeah,
I
never played the game, but because I played World of Warcraft, I was always interested in what the story was. So I knew everything that was going to happen, and some things that didn't, which annoyed me the most, that I really wanted to see, because, well, spoilers for Warcraft 1, Stormwind, the capital city, does not survive.
Yeah, and that's like where they end it. It's like, that's the next thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like they're all there. Attack. It's just like, the king gets murdered by Garoda inside this keep, and then they burn down the whole city. Then they run off to Lordaeron, which is the northern human kingdom, which has Arthas, and that. Yeah. So that's like, they stopped it right before the coolest thing happens. I was like, how are they going to have time for this? And they didn't. And I was like, that as an end of the movie would have like been really cool.
And I think that's not almost like not even a comment on like video game movies, is that I hate the fact that so many movies think they're going to get a sequel and basically plan their movie around getting a sequel.
And then they don't. It's just like, that's it. It's like, come on.
It's like you need to stay focused on the first movie being a one-off chance, make it the best it could possibly be, then worry about a future sequel.
Yeah, like if they had I don't know how if they could have adapted the Arthur storyline better. Maybe, because it's actually a much cooler story of this guy who goes from trying to save his kingdom to doing whatever it takes, and ends up with him destroying it all. It's just like it's just a cool twist that if they put the budget and effort into that, and then they went back and did Warcraft 1, I reckon it might have got a prequel.
Yeah. I really do think I agree that they should have just focused with the strongest, well-known Warcraft storyline off the bat.
Yeah.
As opposed to one where I think a lot of Warcraft fans probably didn't know it to an extreme extent, which probably is easier for a writing sense, because they can change things and people aren't sure.
Warcraft 1 was heavily like retconned like later on, so that's what this movie is. It's just a retcon of that we've all learned, because Warcraft 1 at the start was orcs are bad.
Right, yeah. But it is one of those like, it's okay, I think. Regardless of it, I don't think it's not great, but I think it is an okay movie.
It's okay.
Yeah, but there are some not so great video game movies.
Far Cry.
One of which... Yeah. Oh, there was a Far Cry movie? I didn't even aware of that.
Yui Bowl, renowned for his video game. That's
I didn't even realize that existed. Okay, well, another Ubisoft game that exists was the Assassin's Creed one, which...
And Prince of Persia.
Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, it was called
Assassin's Creed. And Prince of Persia, yeah.
I like Prince of Persia.
I didn't like it because they miscast so many of the actors. Like, they're supposed to be Persian, and they all sound they're all sound British or American. It's like, these accents are all over the place.
Yeah.
But the movie visually, I think, looked okay. I think the plot wasn't great either. Like, it
I
was
don't
like
remember
probably
that well. I just remember liking it when I was younger.
I think it was a mediocre movie. It's probably how I
think that's what we're getting at. Is there a good video game movie?
Yeah, Warcraft is probably the closest, and even that's just not. It's not great. It's just good.
Yeah, I'd say Resident Evil, the smart thing of trying to distance itself from the game. Do its
own thing.
But...
And I do agree that was probably the smartest thing. I mean, it got kind of... I think the problem in later movies is that it tried to get back to what the other ones were and started bringing in like Wesker and all these other characters from the actual games.
Which in the last was played by Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones.
But yeah, well, he was in the first one too. But that's the first one was the better one probably because it had the Resident Evil standpoint. Resident Evil was like basically over-the-top zombie action, or just crazy shit happening.
Yeah.
And they went, let's just do something like that, and focused on the sci-fi aspect of they're zombies, but it's an inherent virus-based zombie.
I think that was like, as much as I don't like those movies, I think they were smart for how they went about it, because there are a lot of people who like those movies who don't really care about the game.
Yeah, which, is a good idea to take. Just do your own thing as opposed to direct copy. I think that's the problem. And what I see in that Tomb Raider movie is that the fact it is just going to copy Tomb Raider. Like, I can't see any originality in there. It just looks like the game again.
Yeah, it looks like the reboot. Like, it looks identical to what happens in that rebooted game. So,
which a lot of people seem to go like, oh, that's what we want. We want it, so at least it'll be solid from the game. I'm like, I don't know though. I do want people to try to make it different. Like, do their own thing. But we'll see what the Tomb Raider that's coming out next year, I think.
I believe so.
Point.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means for the Uncharted movie, which has got I think Tom Holland attached to it now as Nathan Drake, as Spider-Man.
How would he be Nathan Drake?
I think they're probably going to go with the young Drake, is my gut feeling, and it's probably going to be a Sully Drake movie, which I mean I'm up for. And Tom Holland's got a lot of charisma, and I think he probably could do the. I do
Nathan
like
Drake
him quite
in
well.
like Spider-Man stuff. He can act, but it's just like I just want the Nathan Drake we know.
And it's always constantly getting cancelled too, where it's like, oh, new director, new actor.
Cancel back in
yeah. Like, wasn't there a Steven Spielberg like Halo movie or something that was supposed to happen?
TV show and movie.
TV show. Okay, yeah.
Neil Blomkamp was going to be doing a Halo movie, and then that got pushed back. So apparently they're still doing the Halo TV series.
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently with Steven Spielberg.
Well, Steven Spielberg indirectly has just done his Ready Player One, which in a weird way might be the best video game movie.
Yeah,
it could be.
Yeah, it's like a bit like what's the Pixar one?
That's another one. Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. That's a good example too.
Yeah, I think that had a good like first half celebrating.
Yeah,
everything video games, and the second half was like we're focusing on this.
Way worse.
Which was not good. Like I love the first half. It was like you had all these characters in one place.
But the problem with the first half, I'm like do we only like it so much because it's just full of cameos?
Yes.
Or do we like it because it's actually good? Because that's the thing. I'm like, it might just be the cameos that make that first half so good.
I think it's just the cameos, to be honest. All the references and stuff. But yeah, it's like will Ready Player One only be good because it's got stuff from things we recognize.
Yeah. I mean, Steven Spielberg has obviously a very popular directing style that might play well to, I think, the concept of what this movie is. But the aspect that it seems like it's mostly all going to be CGI maybe also plays well to the video game idea of it. Like, essentially the character is ending a video game world. Like, that seems like what the plot is.
So, maybe that's our hope. Games that reference it more than games that are.
Yeah, exactly. It's like basically a movie that isn't based on a video game, but is inherently building off of the other video games. So the idea is represented in them. Maybe. I mean, there was also Pixels, and that was a pile of shit. So,
that's an Adam Sandler movie. They're all shit.
That's true. Do we think there is a saving grace? Like, can there be a good video game movie?
I hope so. There's no real good examples yet. One day.
I mean, there's campy one. Even Mortal Kombat. Like, Mortal Kombat's like one of the more popular ones, but that was just ridiculously campy over the top.
Yeah, like the Street Fighter ones as well. So.
Yeah, like no one thinks they're good movies. They're just popcorn, silly movies.
Yeah, so I really hope just one day we're gonna get a good director that does a good movie game thing on a game that really has a lot to. I didn't even think of it originally, but Steven Spielberg could be that saving grace. That could be the one. Maybe yeah.
He hasn't made a lot of all perfect movies though, so it's not like even he's like the savior.
Yeah, but he's responsible for so many classics and he's responsible for so many good movies as well. Like he's made Indiana Jones, that one I can't remember, like 4, and no one liked it. But he's also made a whole bunch of good movies.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I do think his style has become a bit stagnant. Like some of his early movies are his best stuff.
Yeah, because that's just this big Hollywood like blockbuster thing. That is what he does.
Yeah, and often they're not as significant as some of his earlier work was, where like huge standout pieces, Indiana Jones and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I guess finger crossed is what we get.
We hope. We are filled with hope.
Yeah, Tomb Raider didn't impress me that much. I don't think it's going to be. I think it'll be a good movie.
I thought it had hoped. That was one I had hoped to be like the one that would change the view, but no.
Yeah, I like the posters I was seeing, but then on the trailer I went, I don't know.
Yeah, did you see the poster with a neck like a giraffe? It was like really long. People were pointing out how long it was.
Yeah, I did.